Hey everybody, I'm Tim, and it's time to light up for less. You're watching Cigars Daily. Get more out of all our content when you join the community on Cigars Daily Plus. And for this video, I am jamming on the brand new Camacho Broadleaf. This thing is not your typical broadleaf, which sometimes can be really peppery and spicy and overwhelmingly strong. This thing's closer to medium strength, and it is a chocolate bomb. I'm so excited it's finally here, and I finally get to talk about it in a video. So just yesterday I was sitting in my office talking with a representative from a brand whose name I won't mention. Specifically, I'll just say it rhymes with St. Poupon. They're a very fancy lighter brand. And I asked the guy, I said, "What's your cheapest lighter?" And he puts his finger up and says, "Oh, we don't make cheap lighters." I said, "Okay, I get it. What's your most affordable lighter?" There's this whole idea in the world around this word cheap. If it's cheap, it might be affordable, but it also likely is cheaply made. And I think that that's fair. The salespeople should learn this. It should be a part of their vernacular. Use the word affordable and not cheap. When it comes to premium cigars, though, there's some cheap damn cigars out there. They're cheap. They're made cheaply. We call them Cuban sandwiches. They cost less than the other cigars, and you get them predominantly for that reason. And when it comes to the accessories that you use to light up your cigars, certainly there's a similar idea between affordable and cheap. And actually, this is one of the things about accessories that really impresses me is that there are some cheap accessories out there, ones that don't really do a great job, and they're also affordable. But then there's this whole world of affordable accessories that, to me, work mysteriously well. In some cases, they work a lot better than the more expensive ones. I have at home lighters that cost $60, $70, $80, $100, and in some cases, several $100s that don't work very well at all. Certainly not as well as they worked the day that I got them. But as I live and work in the cigar world, I am continually impressed by some of the more affordable torches out there that have got amazing staying power, and that is exactly what I want to share with you today. So I'll ask you now, drop a comment down below. What do you use to light your cigars with? Do you use an expensive lighter? Do you use an affordable lighter or even a cheap lighter? Put it down below. If you know the name and the brand, let everybody know what you trust and rely on, or even what you've had some bad experiences with, because I'm going to take you inside some that I've had experience with, and I've been blown away with the quality based on the price. Now, all the torches I'm going to show you today come in under that $30 mark, which puts them sort of in the budget category for me. Some of them as low as, $10 to $15. And I will say this up front, for the match aficionados out there, the match snobs out there, the ones about whom you say, only matches can be used to light a cigar. If you don't use a match to light a cigar, then you're a bum. Well, you might think that, and I'd be fine if you did. But everybody in the cigar world uses torches. The people in the factories and farms in Latin America who make the cigars, the people in the warehouses here, manufacturers and distributors, people in cigar shops across America predominantly use torch lighters to light up their cigars. Of course, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Hell, you could even light a cigar with a damn magnifying glass if you're determined enough to. But these are going to give you a much easier and much more reliable way to get the job done. And with no further ado, lighter number one is the Paleo Vesuvius. Now, I seem to remember Paleo as a brand from when I first got into the cigar industry. This was almost a decade ago. I seem to remember Paleo as having a particular reputation of being a ultra elite cigar accessory. And I don't know if they just got purchased by a bigger brand or what happened, but now you see the Paleo name on all kinds of accessories of all kinds of price ranges, and they seem to have done a great job with this Paleo Vesuvius of making a good pocket torch that carries a lot of the features that I really like in affordable lighters. So the first thing is that this is a multiple flame torch. It's got 3 flames and they're in a triangle pattern, which causes them to come to a point. It's almost like having a fat single flame, which makes it good for toasting the foot, makes it good for lighting, and makes it relatively easy to use to touch up cigars. That is pretty standard with these torch lighters. The arrangement of the flames is not a big deal because it's usually reliably good. The other thing I love about the Vesuvius is a nice, large, clear fuel tank. The fact that it's clear means you can always see how much fuel you have, which is great because this is not a feature you get with the more expensive torches, which are usually made of metal or something that carbon fiber finish that doesn't allow you to really see how much fuel you have. Sometimes these expensive torches have like a little fuel window, and some of these fuel windows are unbelievably small. You might even be putting on your readers to see how much fuel is in your torch. I want to pull the thing out and at a glance know exactly how much fuel is in there. And by the way, I have the capacity to put a ton more in. Now, again, all of that does not set this torch aside. A lot of the torches I'm going to show you today are going to have the same kind of qualification, a nice big fat fuel tank on it. But I'll say for the Paleo Vesuvius, this thing is a particularly well put together, like affordable torch. This one comes in at just $12, and of course you'll fill it with enough fuel to light many cigars. And like I said, this has got a lot of features the other ones have. It does have a pretty interesting, unique design that gives it this, I don't know, I guess a Vesuvius type of feel. And probably my favorite feature of this torch, because again, it's got a lot of the features that a lot of the torches I'll talk about have. The entire bottom of this torch is the flame adjustment dial. You can open it up, put the flame on, and turn the flame up or down, and dial it into exactly what you want it to be for lighting your cigar, which will really determine how much gas you're wasting if you want to turn the thing all the way up. But again, that's all up to you. Paleo has also put out some other amazing economy lighters, but the other one I want to show you is this one, the Paleo Pistola, which looks precariously like a pistola. And that's actually, I think, probably the feature on this thing that I like the most. It's got this angled flame port here that shoots the flame out at something like a 30-degree angle. And I like this a lot because it makes it easy to light in what is, my opinion, the correct way, or to touch it up the correct way. This is one thing I try to warn a lot of people about, especially as they're just getting into cigars. I see this a lot. People will take their torch, get the flame going, and then point that flame directly down the shaft of the cigar. And as they light, they're just injecting heat much further into the cigar than you really need to. I'm often telling people you want to light at a bit of an angle like this. And the Pistola seems to sort of naturally help solve that. You can hold it straight up and down, and the torch is like at a 30-degree angle, which allows you to very comfortably touch up the edge of the cigar, toast the foot, light the thing, and overcome what is, for newbies, I would say, a pretty regular mistake that they make, which is overheating the thing right as they're lighting it up. The Pistola also comes with a really nice large fuel dial at the bottom, and again, that big clear tank that holds tons of fuel, and you can see exactly how much you have. And the Pistola won't set you back a tremendous amount more than the Vesuvius. These things clock in right at about $15 for a torch. There's also another accessory brand that is kind of near and dear to my heart, and that is Jetline Accessories. They make some incredible stuff that is incredibly affordable. Again, to me, Jetline was sort of one of the first workhorses of cigar accessories. A lot of companies were out there trying to make top tier elite stuff. And there's this whole massive world of like blue collar cigar smokers who we just want a torch that works. And they made the pocket torch years and years ago. The pocket torch is sort of the first lighter of this type. It's got that large clear fuel tank. It's got a flame adjustment dial. It has a little flip out knob on the bottom you got to grab. So I guess there's a bit of a drawback from the massive, flame adjustment dials that you get on the other two lighters. But again, the thing about Jetline that always gets me is that the thing fires every single time. And the Jetline pocket torch comes in right at $15. So under $20, it's the kind of lighter that you can get and still afford to pick up a few sticks. And it comes with Jetline's like classic, I guess, pitch point for me. They've been around a long time. They've been doing economy accessories for a long time. It's a brand that I feel like I know I can rely on and often do. But just because Jetline's been around a long time doesn't mean they're not still coming up with amazing new stuff. I've been raving about this new torch, the Jetline Fatboy. I've been raving about this for a while because, well, I got to help pick the name for it. It was my recommendation to them. They loaned me out one of these torches like sometime last year and said, use this for a while. It has got a absolutely massive, very clear fuel tank. It's got, again, that massive flame adjustment dial on the bottom, but then a few other features that you don't typically find, or at least you haven't found on any of the other lighters I've talked about yet. The first one is that built-in punch, which is not an uncommon feature, but always nice to have. On the top, there's a built-in cigar rest, so you've always got a place to set your cigar down, especially if you're smoking somewhere in public where there's like just a gross table, like a public table that everybody uses and their kids eat and fart all over it. You don't want to set your cigar down there if you got to do something with your hands. And the second you start to pull down that ignition trigger, the lid flips open and the thing is ready for action. To me, this is like the ideal cigar accessory. It's like the perfect one to have. I keep one of these in basically every area that I smoke now. They're a little bit more pricey. They come in at around 24, 25 bucks. But in my opinion, what you get for this lighter is like worth every penny. The singular, in my mind, drawback to the Jetline Fatboy is that it's a bit of a fat boy. So it may not fit as easily in your pocket. Maybe you'll feel like it's a little bit bulky, but for sure, you'll always have plenty of fuel to light and touch up your cigars. And moving right on down the line to Vertigo accessories, this is called the Glock Torch, which weirdly, unlike the Pistola, looks nothing like a Pistola or a Glock. It's just, I guess, called the Glock. But this thing has got a couple of features I really like that the other lighters have, and then one thing that I haven't seen in a lot of other lighters. The first one is that massive clear fuel tank. Doesn't seem like it holds quite as much fuel as some of the other lighters like the Vesuvius and certainly not the Fatboy. It's also got a nice large fuel, like flame adjustment dial at the bottom, easy to use. And like the Fatboy, it's got that ignition triggered lid. The second you push that button down, the lid flips open. Like, it seems like a small thing, but there is something frustrating about going to light a cigar and you forgot to open the lid and you're looking at your own stupidity. That's frustrating. The Glock gives me the benefit of opening itself right away and lighting with the same trigger ignition. Still not my favorite thing about this torch though. The best thing about the Glock is that it's got 3 flames in a straight line. To me, this is more like a painter's brush, and it makes it really, really easy to get a nice wide, like toasting area for the foot of a cigar. Really simple to get a nice, clean, even light across the foot, which is something that doesn't sound incredibly difficult to do, and truthfully, isn't if you're paying attention and know what you're doing. But at the same time, it's another one of the big things I see, especially new people getting into cigars. If you're having a conversation or you don't know better or you're just going a little too fast, it can be easy to half light the thing. Hell, I've seen this happen to a lot of veteran cigar smokers, and it's really easy to do. Like I said, if you're having a conversation and just not paying attention to the fact that you're lighting a cigar. Also, those 3 flames in a row are really easy to turn sideways, and then you've got a nice edge of a single flame, almost like the blade of a knife, that you can use to touch up a cigar if it starts burning bad or something like that. To me, this is a really, really cool design for a pocket lighter, because with those 3 flames in a row, this lighter is also very, very thin, which makes it very pocket friendly, easy to take with you anywhere you go. The Glock also lands on the shelf right around 16 bucks, so still a sub $20 lighter with all the features that it comes with. Feels like a pretty damn good value to me. And of course, I could never make this video without mentioning the torch that I love so much that I use it in every cigar review. It's another Lotus torch, and that is the Zippo style 2-torch butane lighter. This thing I love because, again, it's got 2 torches side by side that sort of point to a single flame. It makes it a little more inconvenient to do the toasting of the foot. It takes just a little bit more time. There's more rotating of the cigar and moving around to the lighter, but it's perfect for touch-ups. Another drawback of this lighter is that you actually have to pull the insert out to adjust the flame, and you're not going to be able to see how much fuel is in there. But hell, to some of us, that doesn't really matter, because when you got that satisfying lighter click and you've got a more stylish torch in your pocket, you're willing to put up with a couple more hassles here and there. This is the one that I use in all my reviews. Like I said, I still like the thing, even though around the shop I tend to keep other stuff like the Fatboy and other lighters like that. Something about this lighter, this always has made me very happy. And these things come in right at $25, which gives you a little bit of style with your affordability. And you can, of course, take the insert out and put it into a number of other pockets or Zippo cases, as I'm sure that they call them. And of course, there's a million of those out there. Some of you watching this video even have a collection of them on your shelf at home already. And last but most certainly not least is a lighter that I've been impressed with how well it's been received in the market, and that is the Dissum Slim Torch. So Dissum featured these accessories a few years ago that basically have this little fidget hole on the bottom of them. You can spin it around like a pistola, even though it doesn't look like a pistola, or a Glock. You can put your keychain on it and have it with you wherever you go. This one is also pretty impressive because with a single torch that's angled a bit, sort of like the pistola, makes it easier to light. It has that similar drawback to that Zippo style lighter we just looked at, that it's going to take a little bit more time and attention to detail to get a good toast on the foot, but it's incredibly easy and accurate to touch up a bad burn on a good cigar. And it's got this flame dial on the front that's it's sort of like a Bic lighter. You kind of move it back and forth to determine what your flame's going to be, and an impressively large flame for a little single torch. It does have this small fuel window on the side. It's really not quite big enough to see really even how much the fuel it holds, but certainly big enough to see if you've got enough fuel in it to walk out the door. I keep one of these on my desk, and I've found that I can light 3 or 4 cigars and touch them up at the same time before I have to refill the thing. And it's really hard with a torch lighter to say, based on how much fuel it holds, how many cigars it's going to light, because you do so much toasting and then lighting and touching up that, like, it's never the same amount of fuel for one cigar. Some burn terribly and some burn perfectly. And so it's better to have a torch that holds a little bit more fuel. But again, the Dissum Slim fits easily into your pocket or your carrying case. And these things come in at $18, under the $20 range, for a lighter that's kind of fun to play with and works really well. It's not a bad torch to have around, especially if space is part of your consideration. Truthfully, guys, I have been doing this stuff way too long to keep lighters around that just don't work. And that's why I wanted to make this video. These are torches that I keep on my desk. I find them to work reliably, and reliably in the degree that they light every single time that you pull the trigger. Like, they just keep going and going. There's nothing worse than spending $80 on a torch and it really only wants to light like half the time. So I'll ask you again, drop a comment. What kind of accessories do you trust? Maybe for your lighter or your lighter and your cutter. I would love to hear more from you guys. And of course, check this video out on Cigars Daily Plus. Thank you all so much for watching. This is Tim, signing off for Cigars Daily, and I will see you in the comments.